Awesome. Welcome, family. Welcome. Welcome to Bob Proctor Coaching for Leaders. Is my girl Mina on the call? I think I saw you on here. Where are you at? There you are.
Hi.
There you are. Love it, love it, love it, guys. Hey, guys, I know we switched the time. But we are not going to settle for 90 people on this call. We average over 300 people every single call. I know we switched the time. Get your teammates on here. It's an open call. Literally, Mina's going to go, like, this is Mina's favorite lesson, so I'm going to let her do, like, a big majority of this coaching session. Yeah, so, guys, you're going to want to get your teammates on here. Like, you know what leadership is? This is Bob Proctor Coaching for Leaders. Leadership is getting your teammates on these free calls. I know you guys, a lot of you guys have calls all day. I understand that. But remember, what percent of your results is controlled by your subconscious mind? What percent of your results is controlled by your subconscious mind? What percent? What percent of your results is controlled by your subconscious mind? 96%. So does it make sense that we are teaching you how to change your paradigm? The thing that controls 96% of your results. Doesn't make sense for you and to have your teammates on this call. Yes, I understand the strategy calls you have all day. Yes, I understand the tactic calls you have. But guess what? 96% of your results are going to be coming from calls like this where we teach you how to change the paradigm. Understand yourself. Understand the psychology. Start working from the inside out instead of the outside in. What is your point of support? Is it outside of you or inside of you? Most people, their point of support is outside of them. Their bank account, their teammates, their team, all these different things dictate how they feel inside. And remember, I say this every call, people don't have business problems. They have personal problems that reflect in their business. You want to get better results in your business? You want to be a better trader? You want to hit SED? You want to get your Cadillac? It's not going to come from a strategy. It's going to come from a changing of the paradigm, understanding the law of attraction, understanding the terror barrier, understanding self-image, understanding how to change the vibration of your body. That guy has no pants on. That's weird. All righty. So check this out, family. The importance of this call here. Mina, I think we might have to start charging for these calls. That way people start showing up, start getting it out there. Because what I've noticed, Mina, what I've noticed when people pay, they show up and they get more value out of it. They just do.
I think it is. I think that, I also agree with what you're saying, but I think it is the time difference. We did switch up on them real quick.
I know. I'm good. So Mina's the one that's gonna be nice on you guys. Mina's gonna be the one. Hey, at the end of the day, it's all love, family. We're not gonna charge for these calls. I just have a high expectation for all of us. I really do. I really do. So guys, without further ado, we are recording. Without further ado, we are going to go ahead and we're going to get started. My name is DeAndre Saxon, and I am a certified Bob Proctor Consultant. I work with Uncle Bobby P himself. Let's get an Uncle Bobby P in the chat. I actually called him Uncle Bobby P to his face, but yesterday I was talking to him and I said, "Hey, Uncle Bobby P." I was like, I don't know if that's like disrespectful yet. Like, I don't know how he takes it, but I think he likes it. I think because like that could be disrespectful or he could like it. Like who calls the Bob Proctor Uncle Bobby P? Like, for real. But I said that, I was like, "Hey, Uncle Bobby P, I have a question," and he was rolling with it. He was rolling with it. So I think he likes it. So without further ado, guys, today we're going to be talking about the terror barrier. We're going to be talking about the terror barrier. And this is Mina's favorite lesson. She just resonates with this. So, I like this lesson. I'm typically more of a risk taker. So, going through the terror barrier is not really the biggest thing for me. More of the terror barrier, and you're going to see it here in a little bit, is being able to see the invisible. To see the invisible without expectation of like your inner world going up and down, like the internal state. So that's more of the stuff I'm working on when it comes to terror barrier, but Mina loves this subject. I remember the first time she heard about it, she did a training like that day on it. I'm like, girl, I haven't even studied the lesson yet. You know more about the lesson than I do right now. So I love it. I love it. So let me go ahead and do the introduction like always. So I want to welcome you guys to Bob Proctor Coaching for Leaders with your boy, certified Bob Proctor Consultant DeAndre, my co-host Mina. She's a 6-figure earner in her network marketing company. And this is an open Zoom call, Wednesdays and Friday. Oh, it's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can follow me right there on the left hand at Miami Patron. I'm actually going to be back in Miami in July, so I'm excited. Right now I'm in Medellin, Colombia, so I'm excited to go back to Miami. And on the right side, we have Mina, Miss Mina. We are on episode 7 of this week. So we want to go ahead and please silence your cell phone, tag your last story, tag us, whatever you need to do. Get out the last link one more time, but you want to stay present over the next couple minutes here. Because what you're about to learn is literally going to revolutionize your life. It really is. It really is if you really pay attention. So if you're ready to learn about the terror barrier, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat. Mina, if you would like to take like 5 minutes or so and give like a little little coaching call, just 5 minutes because we got to share the video. But go ahead and like share what has the terror barrier, why has it been so impactful for you, Mina?
Hey guys, so what's up? For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Mina. Well, my name is Karina, but everybody knows me as Mina. So whatever floats your boat, you can call me. And the reason why I love this topic, because let's be real. Think about how many times you were afraid of something and that stopped you from doing it. I don't know about you guys, but every single person should have their hand up because everybody has been afraid of one thing or the other. And the reason why I love it even that much further is because in my business, in network marketing, getting to know yourself and personal development is probably 90% of what we do. And it is scary. Okay, it is downright scary going into like the pits of your mind, realizing what makes you tick, what's keeping you away from doing that of which you know you should be doing, but yet you don't do. Okay, so I love that. Once you start understanding what that fear and that barrier is, it allowed me to just straight like bungee jump and climb over that wall. And that's what I want for everybody, because fear stops us from doing so much. So I literally love this. I think that fear goes hand in hand with faith. So if you are a person who believes in faith, whether it's Allah, God, the universe, this is something that goes hand in hand with this. So let's go ahead and learn about this so that we can replace fear with faith.
Now, how do you really bring the best of yourself to the surface? One thing that really stops people, all kinds of people, is what's called the terror barrier. And the terror barrier is powerful. And what it really is 4 stages of growth. So put your thinking caps on, and I want you to picture you going through these 4 stages. Now, the first stage is bondage. The first stage is where you're stuck, right where you are, no growth. And then you go to stage 2. Now, this is kind of like going from an A to B goal. You come to a seminar, you get inspired, you're like, oh, I'm going to go for this idea. And you start to reason with it, but just in your conscious mind. Very few people get to that stage 2. Most people stay in stage 1 of bondage. And again, they can be incredibly successful, but they're just doing the same thing day in and day out. I got to the point I could do mergers and acquisitions in my sleep. It wasn't inspiring. It wasn't a growth thing for me anymore. You know, what are you doing? Are you in bondage? Or is it you're going and you're going to say, I'm going to reason with an idea. I'm going to go to stage 2. I'm going to think of these ideas. A certain percentage of people get there, but then you got to go to stage 3. What's stage 3? That's when you start to hit the terror barrier. And we're going to talk about why do you hit the terror barrier. And then very, very few people go through the terror barrier and get to freedom. That's where we want to go. So look at it in terms of stage 1 is bondage. You've got X-type conditioning in your subconscious mind. You've got X-type results because that's what's in your subconscious mind. And what else? You're only entertaining X-type ideas. I love how Troward puts it. In the lesson on entering into the spirit of it, it's a great lesson to read. Mine's like falling apart. But he says, hang on for a sec, I'm going to find this because it's so good. He says we habitually look at the mechanical side of things by preference to any other. In other words, we look at what's going on physically. We look at our results. Everything is done mechanically, from the carving on a piece of furniture to the arrangement of the social system. It is the mechanism that must be considered first. And the spirit has to be fitted to the mechanical exigencies. We enter into the mechanism of it instead of into the spirit of it, and so limit the spirit and refuse to let it have its own way. And then, as a consequence, we get entirely mechanical action and complete our circle of ignorance by supposing this is the only sort of action there is. What does that mean? That means that we look at the results outside of us, and an idea comes to us, and it's not in harmony with the results that we have. It's not in harmony with our habitual way of thinking, and so we reject it. And we don't understand that spirit is unformed and we can shape it any way we want. So we limit spirit to this thin, teeny funnel, when we could open up that funnel through our thought and allow all these ideas in and start to entertain bigger ideas. We're not taught that, and we're not conditioned to do that, and so here we are, X-type ideas always coming in, everything else filtered out. We get emotionally involved in the X-type idea, keep affirming the paradigm, X-type paradigm, and we get X-type results. Now, here we're talking about going to stage 2. This is when we entertain an outside Y idea. And we entertain this idea, and we start to play around with it in our conscious mind. And that's all we're doing. But still in our subconscious mind is the X-type conditioning. And so what happens? Is anything going to change in our world with this scenario, this stage? No, it's still a difficult stage because you've opened your mind, you're trying to entertain new ideas, but it's also a dangerous stage because your conditioning is so strong and you want to just push that idea away. And nothing's happening, so you're not getting any tangible results that it's going to happen, so you want to abandon it. You end up wanting to abandon it. So we have to understand we have to go through this phase. We have to experience stage 2. But we want to keep going to get to stage 3. So I had the goal of being in Bob's inner circle. I wanted to work with him. I loved the industry, wanted to create the program with him. But I would go drive to the high-rise tower in my law office, and I'd sit up in my law office, and I'd be doing my mergers and acquisitions and just toying around in my conscious mind with this idea, even building pictures of what it would look like. But I was not emotionally involved in it. I didn't actually think it was going to happen. It was just a nice idea that I'm playing around with. And you can feel like you're doing something with it in that stage. But then I go to this seminar, and the consultant training, and I have lunch with Bob, and I'm in the seminar the next day, and I'm nodding my head, yes, we have a deal. Now things started to get a little real. And you know what happened? My body actually physically started to shake. And it did so for about 2 years. And it was so bad. I remember after the seminar, Bob wanted to introduce, me to everybody, and he had them all in a big circle standing around. He's going to introduce me, and I had a skirt on, and my knees were banging together because I was shaking. Why was I shaking? Because I started to get emotionally involved with the idea. Now look at this graphic. I start to get emotionally involved. I've got the why idea in my conscious mind. I've nodded my head, yes, I'm going to do it. I start to actually imagine that this is happening. Oh my gosh, the first big step has happened, and I'm getting emotionally involved. Now what am I doing? I'm mixing X and Y energy in my subconscious mind and in my body. X and Y energy does not mix well. It's like oil and water. And you've got your central nervous system, this huge computer operating within you, and you've got this chaotic energy, and it starts to physically impact you. How many of you in here this weekend have started to get a headache, or you feel kind of sick to your stomach, or you can't sleep, or you start to get kind of jittery or anxious? Quite a few of you. Well, what do you think's going on? Yeah, you're starting to hit the terror barrier. You're starting to get emotionally involved with this idea, and these energies do not mix. And you're not accustomed to feeling this, and when you feel this way, what do you want to do? You want to get away from it, right? Because what happens is it's a chaotic energy, and it's so easy when you hit this terror barrier, worry, fear, and doubt just fill you, and you just want to bounce back to safety. That's all you want to do. When I was going to hit send, you know, and Bob woke me up. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, what are you talking about?" And I remember one time I'm thinking, I asked Bob, I said, "Well, I wonder what my dad's going to think when I do this," because I hadn't told him. And he looks at me and he says, "How old are you?" I didn't understand why he's asking me how old I was. And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "How old are you?" I'm like, why am I worried about what my dad thinks when I'm as old as I was? And you just want to run back to safety. And I had this beautiful letter that I wrote from my heart that I knew would have a good impact on people, but I hit that terror barrier, and I picked up the phone. I knew what I had to do. I knew I couldn't bounce back. I knew I wouldn't have no respect for myself if I bounced back. I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be satisfied. So I picked up the phone and I called him. And you never want to call Bob Proctor when you don't want to do what you really want to do, but you don't want to do it. And I call him, I'm like, I got the letter queued up, and I can't hit send, and I hit send. And I hit it. Now, what did I do? I hit send, and I went through the fear. I love how Joseph Campbell says, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." It is so, so true. You got to go through it. And thank God, Bob said, hit send, and it shocked me. And I had that emotional involvement with the idea, and poof, you go through that terror barrier. Now, does the fear go away? Does that XY energy go away right away? No. So you've gone through that terror barrier, but you got to keep impressing that Y idea on the subconscious mind over and over and over until finally your paradigm becomes the Y energy. And then what do? You create bigger and better ideas, and you replace that Y paradigm. This is the natural process of growth that we are meant to go through. And you start to become accustomed to this feeling. You start to thrive this feeling of going through the terror barrier and stretching and expanding. But you got to go through it, because I'll tell you what, when you are at that point where you're entertaining the idea and you start to get emotionally involved in it, that's a really difficult place to be. And I got on that plane headed back home to Seattle from Delray Beach, Florida, and just like, how am I going to tell everybody about this? How am I possibly going to leave the law practice? And what about my clients? And, you know, all those things. Thinking, imagining what my dad would say, what my family would say. And I decided I'm not going to talk to them about it. I decided I'm just going to do everything I can every day to make this happen. And I'm going to change my thinking. I'm willing to change my thinking. I'm going to do the illogical. You know, I'm going to go against the flow. That what feels like such a strong current of opposition, and I'm going to go against that. And the reason it's there is because it's in harmony with your X-type conditioning. You got to know it's there and be willing to go through it. And I'm not joking. I think I was shaking for about 2 years, just like inside, just like, oh my gosh, because I was so locked into that path. Bondage. I was in bondage. And I didn't even know anything better. But I wanted to break out. And I can remember so many times when it seemed so difficult. But the good news is, as you go through this and you grow and your understanding just keeps expanding and expanding, and you break through that terror barrier and you experience that freedom and you change your paradigm, and you do that over and over, it becomes easier. And the time between when you come up with the idea and when you physically manifest it, it keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. But you got to learn to think from that place. Neville, this is a great book that I would encourage you to read, The Power of Awareness and Awakened Imagination by Neville. And he says something so beautiful in here. Listen really carefully. He says, the future must become the present in the imagination of the one who would wisely and consciously create circumstances. So your imagination is taking you from somewhere where you aren't to where you want to be, to the future. But you have to have it become the present. In your imagination, in your mind. It's happening now. He says we must translate vision into being, thinking of into thinking from. Imagination must center itself in some state and view the world from that state. Thinking from the end is an intense perception of the world of fulfilled desires. It's already happened. You have a desire, you've already fulfilled it in your imagination. It's an intense perception of the world of fulfilled desires. Thinking from the state desired is creative living. Ignorance of this ability to think from the end is bondage. It is the root of all bondage with which man is bound. Now listen to this bit. This is so good. To passively surrender to the evidence of the senses underestimates the capacities of the inner self. Just giving in to what the current circumstances are. And I loved, Kim, what you were saying. You were broke. You had $4 in your pocket, or 4 pounds, whatever it was, in your pocket. And you could easily have surrendered to the evidence of your senses. But he says, to passively surrender to the evidence of the senses underestimates the capacity of the inner self. Once man accepts thinking from the end as a creative principle in which he can cooperate, you can be part of the creative process. Then you're redeemed, listen to this, from the absurdity of ever attempting to achieve your objective by merely thinking of it. Absurdity. If you're just thinking of it, what's he saying in our language here? He's saying, you're going here, you're entertaining a why idea, you're getting emotionally involved in it. Now, when you're just entertaining it in stage 2, you're just thinking of it. He says that's absurd. You're never going to achieve what you want to think if you're there. You can't passively surrender to what your senses are telling you. You've got to get emotionally involved with that idea. Now, what happens then is the terror barrier hits you. Chaotic energy. You want to stop. You want to get far away from that. Gosh, I can remember that going out on stage that first time of teaching, and especially when Bob turned away. I'm looking for guidance, and he literally turned away. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. But then all of a sudden, it's like, I guess I got to go through this terror barrier. And then you are in a different world. You're thinking from that place. And all of a sudden, the ideas are coming to you. Neville calls it the plots, plans, and projections. The ideas come to you, and then you get in the flow. But you got to go through those 4 stages of growth to get there. That's the terror barrier. Really powerful. Now,
Oh, there we go. Mina. Hello? Can you guys hear me? Oh, I gotta unmute you. My bad. My bad. Unmute.
I was
Okay.
like, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. I would like you to start first. I would like you to talk about the terror barrier, like this different stages and stuff. And what I'm going to talk about is, you know, in the second part of the program, you know, where he talks about not seeing it, you know, the environment. I'm going to talk about that part because I relate to that. I think you like the terror barrier more. So you start and then I'll finish. Okay.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. So drop a 7 in the chat if you're currently mind blown and you got some level of awareness where you're like, oh, wow. So that's why I run back away into safety, right? Because that's our comfortableness, and that's usually what we like, right? And a lot of people don't even break through to freedom because we all get stuck usually in the 3rd phase, and then we run back to phase 1. So I just want to go back into the people who are in bondage, right? So step 1, level 1, people who are in bondage. It's like when you're stuck in a paradigm. Okay, so it's kind of like being stuck in a prison where there are no locks and you can always open the door and walk out, but you don't. Do you guys understand that? Being in bondage, you kind of don't even know that you're stuck in a cell, but you are. But there's no bars. You're doing it to yourself. There's not a hand doing it to you. You do the same thing over and over again, and you get the same results over and over again that are not desired. Okay, she said it. It's truly limiting your spirit, because you see, your spirit, like we always say, is always for expansion, and fear is you contracting. Even when I started this program with Bob Proctor and then I got into his inner circle, my paradigm still kicked in. I was like, am I gonna have this money again? Is this money gonna come back? Like, I started to feel worried. Okay, so now let's get away from bondage, because if you're on this call, you're not in bondage. Your spirit is already seeking expression. Something in you is telling you that you've already had this question, like there has to be more to life than this. There has to be more to life than this, right? Then we have the same person going into step 2. You're probably in between step 2 and step 3 right now. I don't know which one, but as I explain, you'll notice which one you're part of, right? You have the same person in phase 2. Phase 2 is the same thing: X-type conditioning, X-type vibration. Anything that's X-type, stay away from it. Anything that is X-type, stay away from it. Your why is your why thoughts, your why ideas, something that's going to push you to grow, right? You're walking down the street one day and you're clocking into that bullshit ass job that you don't want to be at. And then one day, for some reason, you have this idea. It clicks in your head and you're like, well, what if I can work from home? What if I can really be the first person in my family to be a millionaire? Like, why not me? Why not me, right? So the Y type idea comes into your head, flows in randomly. It's a random awakening. Usually that's how it happens. Like, you never know. It literally just happens, okay? A Y type idea is anything that you want to do that you are not doing, whatever that is, okay? Moving to that city, buying that car, asking that girl out or guy, okay? Making that sale, risking it, like quitting your job because you know that you're going to figure it out. Okay. But if it only remains in your conscious mind, as she was saying, if you're only dibble dabbing, I say this all the time: entrepreneurship, finding yourself, going through a spiritual awakening, you need to tell your conscious mind to move the hell out of the way. Move your conscious mind out of the way. Okay, what do I mean by that? Obviously, you can't separate your soul and your mind. It's an inclusion-based universe. But like, as you go into the levels of growth, your conscious mind is going to throw roadblocks in your way because that is your paradigm. Okay, if you only have that want in your conscious mind, it'll forever just be like an intellectual exercise. You like dabble in it, then let it go, then dabble in it again, let it go. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm here to tell you that nothing's going to happen. If you're still thinking about it in your conscious mind, which is only 4%, your dreams are not going to come true. You need to step into that spiritual awakening. You need to understand that it comes from inside of you. Nothing around you is going to give you signs that you should be doing what you're doing. Fear, false evidence appearing real. You're going to make a decision and everything around you is going to show you exactly why you shouldn't make that decision. Make it anyways. Okay. So how do we make this happen? Okay. This is like my favorite part. This is when all hell breaks loose, right? This is probably where most of you guys are at. And I want to really explain this to you guys in depth because you need to understand why it is that one day you might feel good, the next day you might not feel bad. And you hear me and DeAndre talk about maintaining your state and your internal state. I want to let you guys know why it's happening. And it's okay that it's happening, but you need to make a choice and you need to live by that choice every single day. Do not go back. Okay. For some strange reason, once we get to like the third step, we've already had this idea in our conscious mind. Now we're impressing it. Like now we're dreaming about it. Now we're meditating on it. Now we're moving our alarm clock a little earlier because it might seem like something you can do. You start to like take baby steps towards the Y-type idea and pulling away from your X-type paradigm, right? When this happens, you're not really understanding, you're not really sure of what's going on in your body. Like you want more, but yet you still do less and you don't know why. And it's just really annoying. Let me tell you guys something. What she was saying about her knees buckling, it is the truth. How many of you guys have gotten on one of these Zoom calls and you started to sweat? Or you started to get really nervous, but you talk to your friends all the time. Your hands start shaking when you get on that chairman meeting. Like you start to shake when you have to train your team or do something or talk to somebody about your business or DM that person or call that guy or call that girl. Like, I want you to understand that most of you guys are in between your 20s and 40s and 50s, right? So you have been embedded with conditioning since the age you were born. And then it closed off at the age you were probably like 15, where you've already had these conditionings put into you, not by you, but by your mom, by your dad, by society, by the environment you were brought in, by the neighborhood that you live in, by what your parents eat. What you like to eat today is because your parents fed you it. Your taste palette was built into you by your generational past. You didn't choose to pick arroz con bistec. You didn't choose to pick pollo a la plancha or whatever you guys like to eat. You didn't choose to pick that. You didn't choose to speak English and Spanish. You were brought into that household. You didn't have the choice. You were an empty cup. Shit was just poured into you by the radio, by your parents, by how they argue. Okay, so imagine reprogramming that. Guys, we're a spiritual soul, meaning we have to learn to get better every single day. Stop living mechanically. You guys are living mechanically. You're looking for your truth on the outside of the world, and when it doesn't match, you allow it to lower your frequency instead of living from the inside out. Okay, your mind is like a motherboard, like a computer mainframe. Okay, so you start taking this why idea, you start impressing it into your subconscious mind, and shit goes down. When I tell you shit goes down, shit goes down. Your hands start sweating, you start shaking, you begin to stutter, you forget things, you get real nervous. Why? This is what she was talking about, your body being an XY vibration. Okay, they don't get along. Your paradigm is pulling you one way and your Y idea is pulling you the other way. Okay, you start to not be in balance. Okay, you're now not living in the X vibration that you were before, not the one that you were comfortable with. You may not like the results that the X vibration was giving you, but you were comfortable with it, right? On a conscious level at this point, you're freaking out. You are going to be freaking out. Some of you guys are freaking out every single day. It's the new business. It's new information, new marketing, new everything, just new. Everything that you haven't done before, posting on your Instagram, calling for those people, like whatever it is that you're going through right now, your conscious mind is bugging. Let me tell you, I feel you. I understand exactly what's going on with you. When you decide to lean towards a Y vibration, worry, fear, anxiety, okay? Worry on a conscious level, fear on a subconscious level, and then you start to become anxious, okay? Because it goes from the conscious to the subconscious to then a physical disease. Okay, when this starts to happen, it happens so fast and with such impact that the result is that the individual, meaning you, are in a horrible state of mind. When you're in stage 3, it is excruciating. That back and forth, that conflict is unbearable. It's probably where you are right now, where you don't understand why you want to do something, but you're not doing it, and you keep going forward and you keep going back, and you feel like you're living this level 8 lifestyle where you take a couple steps forward and you bring it a couple steps back, and you take it a couple steps forward and you're right back where you started. Okay? That's usually the phase where you can't go ahead, but you don't want to go back because, like Sally said, she didn't want to go back. Why? Because she was going to be unhappy. She was going to be not proud of herself. She knew that she could not go back. But yet you also can't stay where you're at in this phase 3. You guys can never stay in phase 3. Let me tell you, that conflict stage, you're either going to break through or you're going back to bondage. Let me make that very clear because I don't want it to go over your head. When you've hit conflict, you've gotten out of bondage, you've gotten your Y idea, you start living in XY vibration where you're trying to get away from something you're doing into something new and something better, you are either going to make a decision to break through your terror barrier, or I guarantee you that you're going to go right back to bondage. It's why people make a decision to lose weight and then a couple of weeks later they're eating pizza. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing, okay? I'm going to tell you that when you're in conflict, I know that it's mentally excruciating. Do not go back. Going ahead is the only way that your life will improve. Going ahead is the only way that your life will improve. However, a lack of understanding of exactly what is taking place right now is going to cause you to retreat back to something you're familiar with, which is why me and DeAndre do these calls. We're here to let you know exactly why it's happening to you, that it's okay, and to keep going. Okay? That's you letting your spirit win because you've kept your spirit in a cage for God knows how many years. Wake up. It's your spirit trying to take over. Let it. Tell your mind to chill out for a little bit and let everything come from your soul. Okay, I've said it all the time. There's only one problem in the whole wide world, and that anybody will ever have and go through, and that is ignorance. It is okay to be ignorant. I'm ignorant at baking. I don't know how to bake a pie. Doesn't mean that I cannot learn. Ignorance is simply not knowing. Being stuck in ignorance is your fault, not anybody else's. It's your fault. We're in 2020. So even now, more than 50 years ago, when our parents had to go buy books, that's why it blows my mind that all of our information is at our fingertips. It's inside of us. If we would just slow down everything that's around us and took 20 minutes out of our day to really understand what's going on in our head. Okay, 90% of people are stuck in this stage. It's crazy. They hit the wall, they retreat all the way back to bondage, and then step one all over again. And you know what the worst part is, guys? When you get to step one, you start to begin rationalizing. They begin to like rationalize to themselves why it's a good place to be. I'm comfortable with it. I'm familiar with it. Maybe I can't do anymore. No, that's not for me. And you start talking yourself into settling. How many of you guys have done that? Drop a 1 in the chat if you've self-sabotaged yourself and convinced yourself that not breaking through was the right idea. Look at that. Insane. How do you break this pattern, guys? Super easy. It all goes back to awareness. DeAndre has it pulled up right now. For a person to change their results, they must change their paradigm. And this requires a strong conscious control of your thinking. And how do you gain awareness? Through knowledge. So as you guys can see right here, you can either think, I want to make $1 million by the end of this month. Oh my God, I don't know how, but I don't think I could do this, but everything around me, but how am I going to do it? But I don't have the money, but I don't. Okay, that's worry and doubt, right? That gets impressed to your conscious mind from your subconscious mind into fear. Then that goes into your physical body. It turns into anxiety. What do people do with anxiety? We drink, we smoke, we suppress it. We don't look at it. We don't deal with it. And when it is suppressed, it turns into depression and dis-ease. You go back to eating habits, cancer, being overweight, all these issues that are diseases, it comes from a dis-ease that was anxiety, from a worry or a doubt. Everything comes from a thought. They started to get anxiety from a worry or a doubt that they couldn't pay the bills, so they started eating themselves. Now they have overweight issues, and now it's insane. You can go back to every disease, and it came from a worry and a doubt that went from ignorance instead of going to knowledge. I can tell you guys right now, I'm going to make $1 million at the end of the month. Ask me how, I have no clue, but I'm going to figure it out because I'm not the person that's done. I'm not the first person that's made $1 million. There's people that have made $1 million before me. So I'm going to seek knowledge. I'm going to study how they did it. That's going to allow me to understand. Understanding builds faith, and faith builds well-being, expression, at ease. It allows you to create. Okay, so really ask yourself if this is what, at the end of this call, ask yourself, is this where I'm at right now in my life, what I really want, or is this what I'm settling for? Is it what you want, or is it what you're settling for? Be real with yourself, because we're here to tell you, you have everything that you need. So if you knew you had all the talent, the ability, the resourcefulness, and the soul to require to accomplish everything that you need, that's not what you're doing right now, what would your goal be? What would it be? And start making that decision that you're going to break through the terror barrier now. And I think that's it. I think that's it for my part.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Always coming with that fire. Thanks, Mina. I know you love this subject.
Love.
And I want to add a little bit on that really quickly before I go into my part, is decision. It's literally decision. That's the first chapter in Bob's program, is decision making. I always ask my clients or my prospective clients, you make a decision right now. It's like yes or no. You know how you get past the terror barrier? Making a decision. A decision is how you end that. Decision that, yes, I'm going to do this call. Yes, I'm going to work with that mentor. Yes, I'm going to do that company. Yes, I'm going to quit my job. When you make a decision, I heard this from Holton Buggs. He's a big network marketer. And he said, there's no such thing as making a bad decision. He said, you make a decision, and you make that decision the right one. You make that decision the right one. Make a decision and watch how you just blast past the terror barrier. You see, the reason I like Mina doing this call is because I experienced the terror barrier, but not in a like a lot of anxiety, because I'm so quick at making decisions. I'm such a risk taker. Like when I decided to work with Bob and drop the tens of thousands of dollars, it was a 5-minute decision, even though I had $200 in my bank account. Boom. When I decided to come back to Colombia, right before they had just closed the borders to Europe. I want you to understand this. Imagine going to a country you've only been to for like 4 months. I don't even speak Spanish while I'm learning Spanish. I'm at the airport on my layover in Fort Lauderdale, and then I see on the news, everybody in the airport is watching the news that Trump just closed the borders to Europe because of the virus. And here I am about to go to Colombia. And that my terror barrier hit, but it was for 5 minutes. I made a decision. I asked my intuition, made the decision. I came, and it completely changed my life financially, and business, and everything. I'm so quick at because I make a decision within 5 minutes, and I don't let it linger. Napoleon Hill says have you guys read the book Think and Go Rich? The largest chapter in Think and Go Rich is all about decision making. Most people do not know how to make a decision. Most people, 99% of people, do not know how to make a decision. They want to think about it. Thinking about it is such a bad habit from like our parents and society. Because what happens is when you're thinking about it, what you're doing is you're just toiling this mental energy throughout your day. And here you are. Get me wrong. Some of you might be going through this right now. Right now, you're not even mentally present because you're thinking about something you haven't made a decision on earlier this morning, last week. There's a salesman following up with you. He's texting you. You're not texting him back, and you're thinking about that. Oh, do I want to work with him or not? You're trying to close a deal. You're trying to buy a car. You're trying to buy a program. You're trying to do coaching. Or whatever. There's some decision that you did not make that is literally in your mind right now. Are you kidding me? You see, that is the stuff that's holding you back. You think it's a script. You think it's sending out 10, 20 DMs today. It's not. It's the mental energy that's toiling in your mind that's taking up, because you probably have like 6, 7, 8, 10 different decisions in your mind. Decision, what are you going to eat today? What are you going to do after this call? Who are you going to follow up with next? And these are the things that begin to deteriorate your energy. And then at the end of the day, you're so tired, but you're not even know why you're tired. Decision making. You see, when you begin to move towards your goal, you are not going to find the resources to help you achieve that goal. You will not. Let me repeat that. When you set your C-type goal, the goal that scares you, you will not find the resources in your external environment to allow you to achieve that goal. And what most people do is they let that external environment make their decision. Let me tell you guys, if you continue to let your outside world, your bank account, your team, the amount of followers you have, whatever it is, related to whatever you're working on, if you allow that to dictate your decision, guys, I'm sorry. I feel very sorry for you. You're going to be stuck in a very similar position. We can get on a call 6 months from now, and you'll be in a similar position, give 5, 10%, you'll probably be in a similar position. Faith is the ability to make a decision based on something you do not see yet. You see, and I'm going to step on your guys' toes here, because like I said, you guys give me the permission to be real with you guys. Drop a 1 in the chat if you guys want me to sugarcoat it. You see, right now, and everybody gave me permission to keep it real with you guys. Step on your guys' toes. You see, right now, all of you guys are a lot of you are in agreement. You're writing it down. Make a decision. Make a decision. Make a decision. Make a decision. You're on all the calls. Make a decision. Then you get on a one-on-one call with somebody, and then the time to make a decision, and you back out. You played yourself. You're playing yourself. Some of you are not in your head. Some of you are not in your head. Now, this doesn't relate to all of you, but I stepped on some toes right now. You see, because you write down, you're in the meeting, you're learning it. You're learning about the terror bear. You're learning about the paradigm. You're learning about this. And when it comes time to act, you allow your paradigm to come in and bring you back to bondage. This goes for myself included. Mina can check me. I woke up late today. I woke up at like 7:30 this morning. But we wake up at 6:30 to study. But guess what? I remembered my paradigm like for like 2 seconds. I remember waking up and like, oh, I should probably like jump out of bed. And then my paradigm was like, oh, but just 10 more minutes. Boom, woke up an hour later. That happens to me too. It happens to me. I didn't make a decision when I knew I should have. It's those small little decisions that begin to eat away at you. You're not going to find the resources outside of you when you set that C-type goal. If you're going to be a chairman in the next 6 months, drop a 1 in the chat. If you're going to be an SED in the next 6 months, drop a 7 in the chat. If you're going to be a 6-figure earner in your respective company, drop a 4 in the chat. Chairman's 1s, SED 7s, respective companies 4, 6-figure earners. You will not have the resources outside of you. It's not present. You have to be able to project yourself into the future and put your state as if you have it. I went to this personally. You cannot let your outside environment, results, or situation control your internal state. It's the opposite. You let your internal state dictate your external state. I went through this. I actually talked to Uncle Bobby P yesterday. Uncle Bobby P, I was mentioning at the beginning of this call, was coaching me up. I said, Uncle Bobby P, you know, right now I'm going through a terror, like I wouldn't say terror bear, but I'm going through like this internal battle. You know, I used to earn $2,000 to $3,000 a month before I met you in January. Now I'm earning multiple 6 figures a month. Uncle Bobby P, my paradigm started telling me, DeAndre, can you sustain it? DeAndre, are you good enough? DeAndre, are you a good enough speaker? DeAndre, are you going to be able to provide enough results to your clients? Who are you? You've only been doing this 4 months. My paradigm started talking me out of it. It took 45 days because month 1, boom, nothing. But halfway through this month, it started kicking in. DeAndre, who are you? Can you keep making 6 figures a month? It started kicking in. Guess what? At the same time that my paradigm kicked in, my external environment started to validate it a little bit. My schedule slowed down just a little bit. Just a little bit. And guess what? I fell for it. I fell for it. I started believing the negative press. Instead of waking up being grateful for my clients and being grateful that today I'm going to enroll a new client. Instead of being grateful for that, I would start thinking, damn, am I going to get a client today? Damn, I only had 3 appointments today. Can I get a client today? I started going down this negative thing. Remember on my last call, I talked about delay time. Remember, there's a delay time. When you start thinking those thoughts, it's not going to hit you tomorrow. It's not going to hit you in 2 or 3 days. About a week or two, it's going to hit. And sure enough, at the beginning of last week, I started thinking like that. And it hit me this weekend. For the last 2 months, I've gotten a client every single day into the program, and they're loving it. They're getting results. So my clients rely on me, my internal state, to be able to enroll them so they can get to their goal, to SED, to chairman, to whatever it is. But what I started doing was I started listening to the internal world. And guess what? Friday, I didn't get a client. Saturday, I didn't get a client. Sunday, I did not get a client. For the first time in 3 months. What had happened? My paradigm kicked in, my external world started to validate it, and I started to believe in my negative press, and boom, within a week, it hit. That's my personal. You have a similar situation. Some of you are trying to hit that next rank. You're so close to that next rank. You're so close. You need 1 more MP. You need 2 or 3 more people to hit hit P1000, P2000, whatever it is, or whatever company you're in. You're right there. But then your paradigm kicks in. Who are you? There's only 4 days left in the month. Who are you to do this? Who are you to step out? You don't even have a degree. You're not even good on social media. You don't have the pretty hair. You don't have the skills. I can't speak like Mina. I don't read as much as Neno. I don't have a morning routine. You see, it starts kicking in. And what happens is your external world starts to validate that. You allow your external world to validate that. And it puts you in a negative spiral. And then sure enough, you don't hit the rank. And then you're like, you were right. I'm not good enough. You're right. Let me just jump on the next call. Hey, I see my boy Neno's on here. But for real, because your pair is a pair. Like this is what I was talking about the next call. I was talking last call. It's the paradigm, the self-image, and the internal state. The internal state. That's so important. And I know Bob Proctor doesn't actually talk about it as much. I actually invested in another program just to learn internal state. If you guys can understand, take 3 takeaways from myself learning from DeAndre. If you can learn, and Bob Proctor, because I'm a reflection of Bob Proctor. It's 3 things. Understanding the paradigm and the power of your paradigm. Number 2, understanding the self-image and this thing that regulates your results. And number 3, internal state. Internal state. The most important thing. What is internal state? Your feelings. Your feelings. The law of attraction is based on your feelings. You're not going to see. Here's what you must do. Guys, we're probably not gonna have a mastermind. Do you want to keep going, or do you want to do a 5-minute mastermind? A couple of minute mastermind. Actually, I can go longer today for the mastermind. Keep going. Up to you, Mina. All right, keep going. So, internal state. You have to, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I come to the realization and what I'm working on. Like I'm growing, obviously I sell the program, so I'm a lot more in depth on the content, and I'm closer to Bob. So here's what I'm kind of starting to realize. What you have to do is you have to project yourself to that person you want to become. Project yourself to the future self. Project yourself to the Chairman 500, or sorry, Chairman 50, or whatever your goal is. Project yourself to the SED. Go to that self. I got this from Alex Morton, and I write it on my goal card here's my gratitude journal I got from Bob. And I write this at the top of every morning. It says, go there. I got that from Alex Morton. Alex Morton said, go there. Everybody write that down in big, bold letters. Go there. Go there. What do I mean by there? Go to your future self. Go to that Chairman 50. Go to that Chairman 100. Go to that SED. Go to that 6-figure earner. Go to that person speaking on stages and catching tours, catching flights and catching bags. Go there. Talk to him or her and ask them, how do you feel? What would you be doing now? And then do it now. Begin using those behaviors right now. Feel the gratitude. You know, right now, I'm so happy and grateful now that we're enrolling 3 clients per day. I'm so happy because we're bringing so much abundance to our clients here at the Proctor Gallagher Institute. So much abundance. For the company, for my clients, and my clients' clients, the people that are, think about this, you know, for example, Neno, Mina, they're in this program and they're going and teaching this more. It's like they're having babies with the information. Like Bob is just going to, it's just boom. So it's just abundance. So what happens is I feel so much gratitude for that now. So much love, so much gratitude for those 3 people that are coming in day by day. How? Don't ask me how. I don't put a tactic, and I don't put a time frame. Very important. I do not put a time frame. You see, there's 2 different ways you can do it. I get that question a lot. In Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill says put a time frame. In Science of Getting Rich, Wallace D. Waddle says don't put a time frame. You can choose which one. I prefer no time frame. I've tried time frame and I stress myself out. Some of you might be stressed out. You have 4 days till month end. You're like, how can I get P? Man, I'm like, how am I going to get P1000? How am I going to do it? How am I going to hit share? I'm so close. And you stress yourself out. And guess what? You put yourself in a negative frequency and you lose it. I like to put no time frame. No time frame. I allow it to. I don't try, I allow. Who knows where these 3 clients were going to come from? Who knows how you're going to get P1, hit P2, P5, or whatever? Who knows how you're going to hit MMM? You could be 10, 20, 30,000 points from ranking up next. Doesn't matter. Maintain state. Maintain state. What is your point of support? Bob is really harnessing this right now, man. I talked to Bob. Okay, some of you think like I'm in his company, but yo, I want you to know how big Uncle Bobby P is. Yo, I'm part of his company. I'm part of his company, like his consulting. I'm his number 2 consultant. I spoke to him for the first time yesterday in 4 months. That's how big, like he's like a rock star for real. Like Uncle Bobby P is huge. Like I want you guys to understand that he's pretty big. He's really big. I spoke to him for the first time yesterday. He was coaching me up on this internal state stuff. And this is what he said, DeAndre, what is your point of support? Maybe I'll do a coaching call on this. What is your point of support? Is it inside of you or outside of you? I give you guys that question before we sign off here. Where's your point of support? Is it internally? Are you your point of support? Or is your point of support your spouse, your trading account, your back office, and your MPs? Where's your point of support? If you put it outside of yourself, you will be in such a chaotic feeling like you will have no idea. Some of my clients are still learning this. I had a client call me. I don't think he's on the call. He was like, he hopped on the call. He's like, DeAndre, this bill came up. My car's breaking down. They want $3,000. This leader's falling off. My India team's broken, but this is happening. And I'm like, yo, bro, chill out, bro. Chill out. Look at how chaotic you are right now. Chaotic. You have allowed your external world to be your point of support, my brother. You're in the program, my brother. You got to check yourself. You have to be able to check yourself. You can't allow Neno or your chairman or your SED or whoever your leader is to check you. You must check yourself. Check yourself, son. You got to check yourself for real. Man, we're going over time. We're going over time here, guys. If you guys need to hop off, you guys can hop off. I'm going to stay on for a couple of minutes and do a quick little mastermind with you guys. Mina, if you need to hop off, you can hop off. If you guys love this chat, if you guys really love this, drop a 7 in the chat right now. If you liked what Mina was talking about the Terryberry, if you liked about this internal state and point of support, if you really like that, I'm loving it, guys. Okay. So if I'm going to go ahead and do a mastermind really quickly, maybe a couple minutes, if you guys want to stay on. So if you want to schedule a free 30-minute strategy session where we're going to actually break down your Terryberry, it's a one-on-one call with me. Okay. It's a one-on-one call with me. We're going to talk about your paradigm, your self-image, and your internal state on this 30-minute call. If you want to schedule one with me personally, text Bob Proctor to 31996. You'll get a text message with my calendar, or you can go to my Instagram bio. Okay. So here's what we're going to do on the mastermind. You're going to click on participants. You're going to raise your hand. All right. Karina's already there. So we're going to raise your hand and I'm going to unmute you and get your question answered. Okay. Hi, Karina.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can all hear you.
Okay, hi. Okay, so, well, first of all, thank you so much, DeAndre. I always get so much nuggets on these calls. I'm loving it. But basically, I've been like way too in my head lately, and like I can't seem like I'm at a point where I'm kind of stuck with like me being able to like change my paradigm and all that. So what kind of tips or what do you suggest I do to like kind of get out of my head and get more focused as to like what I need to be doing?
Okay, so let me repeat, let me see if I understand your question. Your question is asking how you can change your paradigm, or how can you get yourself to do what you can do? Can you
No, basically like how I feel like I'm stuck like with like, you know, my self-doubt and like being always constantly in my head. And you know, I've been catching myself doing that, but I still feel stuck kind of like in my paradigm right now.
You need repetition of an outside why idea. I recommend listening to Bob Proctor's videos. So let me actually, so this is really good, a really good question. I've never really explained this on the call. So here's what my clients go through. My clients go through a 6-month program called Thinking into Results. It's been out since 2009. The way we run the class is that it's just a quick 20-minute video. And what they do is they watch in a series of videos, and they'll watch that same video twice per day for 2 weeks long. So they'll watch the same video 14 times. And what begins to happen is that old thinking gets replaced. So their old thinking gets replaced by Bob Proctor's thinking. And so by Bob Proctor being in your ear all day long, you start thinking like him. You start to like ideas. You'll just be going throughout your day, and then boom, like this idea from Bob will pop in. And you're like, that's what he was talking about. That's what he was talking about. Your level of awareness goes up. So that's what my clients go through in the 6-month program. This has been out for 11 years. I'm a testimonial to it. So Karina, this is what I would do for you is you got to have repetition of an outside idea throughout the day.
Okay.
There's two people that I'd recommend. Well, obviously the program is there for you to do that, but the two people I recommend is Earl Nightingale and Bob Proctor. And so what you do is find a video on SoundCloud. If you're not in the program, find a video on SoundCloud or YouTube or something from either Earl Nightingale. Here's a couple recommendations. The Magic Word by Earl Nightingale. The Magic Word. The other one you can do is The Strangest Secret. The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. That was actually, I listened to that 600 times in about 3 months. I listened to that a lot before I met Bob. That's actually how I got in the same frequency as Bob. I was listening to The Strangest Secret, okay? Another one you can watch, and then any of the Bob Proctor videos. Maybe something on Paradigm, okay? So actually, those Earl Nightingale videos will probably be your best bet, okay? Because Bob has so much information, but Earl has condensed it into like 20-minute videos, okay? So listen to those every single morning. Every morning, I know Nano does this because I got him on this. Every morning I listen to the Magic Word for about 2 months now, 3 months now. Every morning I listen to the Magic Word. And what happens is you start to internalize what they're saying. You start to think like them, okay? And then what happens is you take out your old paradigm, put in the new one, and you'll start seeing changes, micro changes, because I mean, you can only do so much on your own, which is why Bob has the program, but that can get you started and help you get better results, Karina. Did that make sense? Oh, I think you muted yourself. My bad. There you go. I muted you again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
you. Okay. Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And thank you for that, because I think repetition and hearing what I need to be doing over and over again is really going to help me out.
Yep, repetition of those audios will really get you started, okay? Estefania.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh.
Hello?
There you go.
Hey, Estefania. You're unmuted. How can we help?
Hi. I'm so nervous because English is not my first language, but I'm so excited to be here and ask. How can I deal with the discourage or of this cycle of being in bondage and then trying to break through and then come back? And then like, how can I deal with that discourage? Because sometimes we always want to try again and we're like, we kind of know that we're going to the same, you know, you get to a point that you haven't breakthrough for so long that you get discouraged. So that's my question. What would you?
Awesome. Good question. Okay. So this goes back to internal state. If you're getting discouraged, it's because you're letting your outside world dictate yourself. What is your point of support? If your point of support is your back office, the amount of appointments that you have, how many recruits you have, then you're always going to feel doubt and you're always going to feel discouragement. You see, you should maintain, there should be no such thing as discouragement. Yes, you'll falter for like a couple days like I did, but the more you bring your awareness, the faster it will happen. See, you know, Bob Proctor says he'll only get discouraged for maybe an hour and then he'll kick out of it. Mine was about a week. As you grow your awareness, the discouragement will be in shorter bursts, okay, and less frequent. But if you're getting discouraged, basically what you're saying is my internal state, I'm going to base that off of my results in the present world. It doesn't matter how long it'll take. You have to maintain that if you do this, it's going to work. If you stay in the right vibration, you will attract it. You will attract it. You have to maintain the internal state that it's going to work out. My personal story, I've been an entrepreneur for 5 years. I started in network marketing when I was 19. I'm now 24. A lot of people just met me now. They think I had overnight success. I've been doing this shit for 5 years. I've been broke for 5 years. I was broke for 5 years, family, and I never quit. I never quit. For a total of 4.5 months, I slept in my car in Miami. Never quit. And now I have success, and I went from 0 to 6 figures a month in 2 months. But a lot of people that just met me think that's overnight success, but they don't see all the bullshit I went through from 19 to 24 years old. I maintained internal state. Do you get discouraged? Obviously. But you have to keep going. Project yourself to the future self, to the future person you want to become, and be grateful for what you have now. Be grateful. Love and gratitude are the highest frequencies. If you want, be grateful for that which you want now, despite it being here in the flesh. That is the highest form of faith. The highest form of faith. the highest form of faith. So Stephanie, to clarify your question, if you're getting discouraged, basically what you're saying is you're letting your outside world be your point of support. You must be your point of support. You must maintain your internal state. You must control what's coming into your life based on your own feelings, your own frequency. And if you maintain it long enough and be grateful for that which you want in the future now, it will come to you so fast it will rock your world. I think it was Napoleon Hill said, when riches start to come, this is me paraphrasing. When riches begin to come, it comes so fast and in such an abundance that you will wonder where it was during all those lean years. Trust me, to go from 3K to 6 figures in 2 months is insane, but that's what he was talking about, maintaining state. You can literally be a 6-figure earner in your company in 6 months. Quantum leap. Some of you might think that's bullshit. For those of you that believe me, watch it happen. You can be a 6-figure earner in your respective company, but you have to be grateful for that which you want. Be grateful for the team you have now. Be grateful for the leaders you have now. Look for the best in your people. Look for the best in all the obstacles. Nothing happens to you. Everything happens for you. If there's shit going on right now in your team, in your squad, look for the good. If you focus on the good, you will see the growth from it and you'll begin to move forward towards your vision. So keep yourself as the point of support. Be grateful for what you have now. All right, family. So schedule that free 30-minute strategy session. Text Bob Proctor to 31996, and I can give you guys a custom game plan just for you on a one-on-one setting. So without further ado, family, I'll see you guys next time. This recording will be posted in the Telegram group to get it out to your team, okay? See you guys later.